Good. That's it. We're good. Just waiting on you, boss.
Alrighty.
Just waiting on you. You're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Actually, I gotta do one thing. One sec.
Mm-hmm.
One sec. It's fine.
Alright.
It's fine.
Yes. Good.
It's my I'm doing shit sign.
Yes.
It's my please don't interrupt me. I'm trying to do shit. Although I shouldn't have to worry. I think she's working overtime today, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she's actively like in her home office working. So I don't think I have to worry about her bothering me, even if she wanted to. She's actually working today, so that is even less of a problem than it would be usually.
Alright.
So CD, the holiday is coming past. I had way too much to eat, way too much, way too much.
Mm-hmm.
3 plates of food. My mom's like, "Here, eat some pie," and I'm like, "Ah."
So you didn't eat any food the entire week then?
3 plates of food. They just,
Ah.
yeah, it was absurd. There was like, I will say this is the first year in a very long time we did not have leftovers. Thanks to me, we had very little leftovers left over by the time I was fucking finished. So
That sounds good.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm here to set balance to the force. However you decide to take that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if George Lucas ever even really understood what he meant by set balance to the force, because God knows the movies fucking didn't understand what he meant by that shit. Jedi, we have to set balance to the force. That means murdering all the Sith. But sir, how is that balance? Where's the balance here?
I think George Lucas understood it, but the characters in the movies didn't.
Yeah, George
And,
probably.
I mean, I think he understood, because the way he depicts the Jedi, you can plainly see they're not the simple good
Yeah,
guys.
they're not the end all good guys. They're flawed.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they
I
they
think flawed as the prequels may be, they did a good job in portraying the Jedi at that time as very flawed, and there being quite a few problems there.
yeah. Yeah. I was going to say hypocritical at best, but
Yeah, yeah,
insanely
that works.
insanely hypocritical, but I
Mhm.
mean I can't blame them all that much because like who's really going to step to you? Because like if you're a Jedi, like what are they going to do? Shoot you with a laser pistol? Yeah, most of us know how to stop that
I mean,
shit.
I mean, look at what happened when the Order 66. It worked.
It worked
as long
exceeding.
as long as enough lasers are pointing at you, something's gonna work.
Yeah, one of the few thousands of repeating rifles are going to land at least 2 hits.
1-on-1, sure, much easier to deflect. But if there's 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, there's
Yeah,
gonna be problems.
suddenly. More on Star Wars. That's an interesting thing that got brought up. I've been listening to Timothy Zahn's audiobook for the called Thrawn.
The Thrawn trilogy.
It's not even a Thrawn trilogy. It's just called
Oh,
Timothy
okay.
Thrawn. Timothy. Well, I guess it's Timothy Zahn's Thrawn. Let me see if I can. Oh, that's backwards. It's technically backwards, but yeah, that's
that's
mirrored.
fine.
But yeah, it's basically kind of just telling like Thrawn's story from a point, like how he gets into the Empire, how he rises up the ranks. He's a very interesting character. Rebels does a really good job at showing how cool he is, but the audiobook I've been listening to has a problem. It splits the story between his story, which is the interesting one, and another story, which I don't give a shit about. Now, I'm sure this other story is going to play into this somehow. I just don't know how. But until it does...
And you don't care at this point.
Yeah, right now I don't care. It's a sub-story that I'm just like, okay, can we get back to the thing I care about? The blue guy who's incredibly clever? I don't care about the rest of this nonsense. You guys are feeding me a character plotline I don't give a shit about.
I'm gonna have to put the book version of that on my new device soon. Then.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, the new Kindle.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really... Audiobook is how I've been getting down for like the longest time. My wife turned me on to them. And because I spend so much time commuting. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't consider...
Yeah, it makes sense there.
Maybe you don't consider 30 minutes to work, 30 minutes back home a lot of time commuting. I don't know what a lot for you might... What would you consider a long commute in your country? What's considered like a long commute?
It's...
Because we're out in America, like a 30-minute commute, at least where I live, is considered pretty decent. But I know people who commute about an hour to get to work. So
yeah, we definitely have those as well. So there's
Because for me,
I've certainly heard longer ones, but
30 minutes to 30 minutes to work, 30 minutes
30
back
plus.
home. Yeah.
30 plus is definitely getting there. Although I've heard of people that have even longer commutes, which seems insane.
Yeah, you'd have to wonder
Do you have that on a daily basis?
Yeah, my brother works at an airport, and his commute back home can be as much as like an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Huh.
Yeah, depending on traffic. I'm like, fuck, that sucks. That's not.
Yep.
That's not. So yeah, like an audiobook will be around like 16 hours. And some people I know are like, 16 hours? That's such a long thing to listen to. I'm like, not really. If I'm commuting an hour a day.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like 2-ish weeks of listening time.
Yeah.
Not too much. And that's not including if I listen to it in my spare time when I'm not commuting. Yeah. And when I decide to get in my car and drive somewhere to go do something or something like that, then suddenly that 2 weeks turns into like a week and a half. So,
yeah. That's definitely a decent time for something like that.
But yeah, I haven't got a lot done. I already had a lot like finished before I took that trip. And then the week I got back, the time I got back, I was off for like 2 days, so I ended up blowing like 4 or 5 different episodes out the water anyways. So I have even less I have less I have to do. So that's also been pretty fantastic.
Being prepared definitely pays there, I'd say.
Yeah, I've been doing I feel like I'm in a perpetual state of trying to tidy my shit up. It's that whole it's like the first step to getting your life together is cleaning your room. And that is perpetually where I stand in my life. It's like I got to get my life together. Looks around my room. Fuck, I'm back at square one again. God damn it.
Whoops.
Right back where I started. Right back where I started. But yeah, I don't really. Actually, I do got one thing I'm going to tell you about. This is funny. I think this is funny. This is sort of how my dad is though. So we're all chilling out. My dad's like, "Hey, you want something to mess with? I got like an iPad you can use." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Because I have like AirPods and shit. So I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he lets me use the iPad, and he's like, "You dig it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's yours then." I'm like, "Oh, you sure about that?" I'm like, "You sure about that?" He goes, "Yeah, I was just using it as a map for my flight simulator anyway."
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, he had it like mounted. He has like a full he has like a flight sim thing set up in his upstairs. He's got like the control deck, he has like the full setup for this. So he had it mounted like here to the side, and it was basically just a flight map.
Huh, okay.
That's how he was using it. That was his use for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe,
an
maybe.
iPad, a full iPad may be a bit overkill for that. Maybe.
I'm not, I can't really judge because I've repurposed way overpowered hardware for tasks
Mm-hmm.
that they really weren't needed for. So,
I
you
mean,
know,
as long as you just repurpose them when you have them, but if you buy them for that, that's yeah, it
I don't
depends
know.
then.
I don't know if he bought it for that. I think it
Mm-hmm.
ended up being used for that.
Mm, yeah,
And that's just the
that's what I'd
use.
imagine.
That's
Because if you intend to just use it for that, then you can buy a cheaper
Yeah,
Android tablet or something.
you could buy anything, and you could buy
Yeah.
literally anything with the screen and accomplish that
Mm-hmm.
particular task. I just thought that was funny. That's just
Mm-hmm.
one of those weird idiosyncrasies that comes with my dad being a tech
Mm-hmm.
dork that he is. And he's just like, yeah, I was just using it for a flight sim map anyways. You're already in the ecosystem. You might as well just take it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fair. It's mine now. So
Sure.
cool.
That's neat.
I can I do all kinds of stuff with it now, so that's kind of dope. But yeah, that's about it, my man. I got nothing else. I got nothing else for you.
Mm.
Nothing
All
unique
right.
has happened. No
Mm-hmm.
terrible things have happened. I haven't lost months worth of work.
Now that's good at least. Yeah, for me it's been a bit of this, bit of that. Last time when we talked, I had talked about Super Metroid, playing that.
Oh,
I think I started to play it at that point, and by now I'm pretty much through. I only have the final uh, bit to
oh!
complete.
I thought you stopped.
No,
The last
no.
conversation we had on Discord, the way the conversation was structured, it
I just
sounded
said
like you stopped.
no. Once I'm done with the game, once I'm through, then I'm pretty much not gonna return to it
Oh, you're
anytime
never
soon. That's the way
okay.
I said it.
I
Because yeah, the annoyances piled up since last we spoke about it on the show.
mm,
Stuff like the grapple hook, or grapple beam rather. Things like the where to go, which definitely had a bit of a problem there later on. And yeah, one of the bosses in combination with the grapple beam, where you essentially have to use the grapple beam to kill the boss.
mm,
And you needed, what was it? Yeah, that was one of them, and the other one was the charge beam that you essentially needed to kill it, because otherwise, yeah, not your chances aren't that great.
yeah.
Because that particular boss essentially always dodges your regular missiles, picks up one of the power missiles when you shoot them and throws them back at you. So you lose at least one shot each time. While the boss has the missiles, you can shoot it again, but yeah, that's still your ammo in terms of power missiles isn't that great to begin with.
Mm,
So there's that, and essentially what hurts it is power missiles. If you can hit them with the regular missiles, then that, and besides that, it's only the charge beam that's vulnerability there.
mm.
And yeah, and up to that point, I missed the charge beam
Oh no. Yeah.
because that's an entirely optional thing that you can easily miss.
Is it not? I haven't played Super Metro
Yeah.
in a really, really, really,
Mm-hmm.
really long time. Is
It's easily missable
oh shit.
because at one point, when I was originally in that room, I thought, okay, I I have two areas where I can go. I'm just gonna go into that area. And I did notice at that point that there were some blocks that I could probably shoot out and go into another area, but at that point I just went the regular route. And once I was at that boss, then obviously later on you don't really think about that, because oftentimes those areas are just, okay, additional missiles maybe, or additional health potentially, and I might just return there at some point, and I just didn't. And yeah, turns out that area was where the charge beam is.
Of
Yay!
course. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it always fucking is.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's those one time, it's those areas that you're like, I'll come back later, I'll take care of it later. And then you go, and then you like look it up and you're like, fuck, that's where that thing I wanted was. Shit.
Yep.
The one time my OCD decided to not kick in.
Essentially that, yeah. And obviously the map doesn't give you many hints on where to go if you have something like that. You just need to be in that area.
Right.
There was some part that it showed where I wasn't yet, and I didn't know how to get there at that moment. But once I was at the charge beam area, I knew how to get there, and then that went on from there. But yeah, other things definitely show, yeah, this game is a very early design for these types of games. And
I mean, it was the birth.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about like that kind of design style of game, it was like that, and then like Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yep.
That took that design and went like full on embrace that shit.
Yeah, essentially.
And it also goes to show you, Nintendo never really moved away from the Super Metroid-ish. I mean, yeah, sure, Prime was first person, right? Like, Prime was first person, but a lot of Prime's core elements of, like, backtracking, exploring, that kind of thing, all kind of hinged.
Yeah.
And then you get all kind of hinged on that. Like, every portable game of Metroid they've ever done since has all really just been Super Metroid to some degree. Maybe with slightly lesser.
They haven't done many of those, though, themselves. Retro Studios did Zero Mission and Fusion, and that was essentially it.
Yeah.
There was that one Federation Force, but that wasn't really a classic
we're not talking about
thing. And yeah, that's essentially the game that shall not be mentioned.
Yeah, basically.
And the others, the remake of 2 and the newest one is both by the Spanish studio.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, obviously Samus Returns was, those were both pretty much in that vein. And...
Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is that they came up with their baseline formula when they did Super Metroid, and all they've done is tweak it and modify it, maybe make it better sometimes, maybe make it worse sometimes, Yeah.
I certainly had more positive. I certainly have more positive memories from playing Metroid Fusion. That one seemed far less annoying. Although I'm gonna have to return to that at some point as well, because it's been several years since I played that.
Fusion is pretty good. Fusion is pretty good, so you can't really go wrong with that one, if you ask me.
Yeah, and besides that, I've played some Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, which just recently got a new class via DLC, which is the Battle Sister, the Sororitas, which is a nice, very flame-heavy build. They use preferably things like flamethrowers or the hand flamer, which is essentially a gun that I'd say it just throws shoots fireballs, essentially, which Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, one of my best lines from any movie has to do with the flamethrower. One of my favorite lines from any movie, which is John Carpenter's The Thing. There's one line in that movie that I still meme today because it's the most ridiculous line I've ever heard someone utter. Mac needs a flamethrower. Mac needs a what? What? Yeah.
I mean, seems straightforward.
Yeah. But then again, that movie's actually like a really good case study in how people deal with like a really fucked up situation they don't understand by just fucking things up left and right. So many, like, he at least kill, like, this, like, the main character kills at least one dude incidentally because he's not 100% sure he's not like a flesh-eating demon. He's just like, I'm not taking any chances. Pop. Oh, he's dead. Fuck. Whoops. That's unfortunate. Now I'm a kid. Now I'm holding hostages and I murdered someone. Whew.
The risk was calculated, but he ain't the best at math.
Yeah, so it happens.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, with a scenario like that, some stuff gotta get.
Yeah. So, a couple of wrongful deaths are bound to happen. I will say though, the 40K franchise is like oddly very impenetrable for me. Like, I don't know, man. I know the I don't like to play a lot of those games because it's like, fuck, there is so much to, like, so much lore and like background and like shit in the 40K universe, right? And like I am aware that it exists, right? So it's like jumping into a movie franchise at movie number 6. It's like
I mean, I'll say I'm not into the 40K franchise at all either. This game is pretty much my first foray into it, and no problems there.
Oh, well, all right. Maybe I might be more willing to try something in that franchise then. I've basically stayed away.
Since it's an action RPG hack and slash looter, you just concentrate on, oh, there's the enemies, shoot them, upgrade your skills, get the better loot, look at that, and yeah, you can get by pretty well with that.
Sounds cool.
And the explanations in the game of the things that you find and the progress in the plot is pretty understandable for someone not into the lore overall.
Yeah.
Because even things like when you need, for example, some specific artifact in the plot, then the game explains it because even the character that you play doesn't know what it is, and there are other characters that explain it to them, which is it's decently done.
All
like
right,
that.
Fair enough.
The advantage is that many things with the humans in this game is with the Empire is that many things require advanced access, and many of the characters don't have that, and you didn't have it before either, and then you just get the access to the information for the first time, or the required permissions to access the info. So obviously you need some explanation for it as the character as well, which is a pretty good alternative to the usual memory loss plot.
Yeah.
But the effect is pretty much the same in that.
I dig it.
So yeah, that's was pretty much the gaming stuff, because otherwise I've also here returned to the old Forgotten Realms books by Salvatore, which concern the Legends of the Dark Elf, a specific one.
Ah.
You probably know which one.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm
Yeah.
very aware.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
And yeah, it's been a long time since I've read the first books, so I started rereading the first one, and I'm pretty much 80% through it.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's fun.
CD, let's talk about Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah,
Yeah.
because I like talking about Sony.
All right.
So, Monster Hunter Rise is going to know has been a Switch port, has been a Switch game. It's been a PC
Uh-huh.
game, and now it's coming to Sony and Microsoft.
Yep.
Obviously, coming to all
Yep.
platforms. But
Mm-hmm.
there will not be any cross save or cross save progression between PS4 and PS5. Meaning that if you play the game on PS4, you're stuck there. And if you
Yep.
decide to get a PS5 and then play on PS5, you have to now have a brand new character on PS5. Now,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Now, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again to reiterate for all you who maybe did not know I've said this before. Crossplay, I will take or leave. I am primarily
Mm-hmm.
a single player gamer anyways. I most like 90% of my gaming is me, right?
Yeah.
It's me. I don't give a shit about crossplay. I think it should be there, but by and large, it does not affect
Mm-hmm.
me. Cross save, bigger problem. There's no
Mm-hmm.
reason. Now look, Sony believes in their so-called walled garden, all right? And that's fine. However fucking ridiculous I think that notion is that they believe they have the Garden of Eden. All right? Fine. You have a walled garden, Sony. We get it. You value it. But
Mm-hmm.
Sony, hear me out. You won't let us cross save between your own two platforms in your own walled garden. Like, fine. We can't cross save between PC. Whatever. We can't cross save between Microsoft. Yeah, obviously. But we can't even cross save between two platforms in your own fucking ecosystem? What the fuck? How does that make sense? Like, bare minimum, I'd
Yeah.
expect that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, I don't even know. Like, part of me almost wants to be like, this might be a Capcom thing. Maybe Capcom doesn't want to implement it, but
I don't think so.
I only say that. I only say that
Mm-hmm.
because we saw that same thing happen with Atlas with Persona 5
Mm-hmm.
Royal coming to PS5, and there was no cross
Mm-hmm.
save between PS4 and PS5. And in that particular instance, I kind of pointed the
Mm-hmm.
finger at Atlas there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind
Yep.
of went, Atlas,
Uh-huh.
what the fuck are you doing? So, consistency reasons. I have.
The thing is, though, between PC and Xbox, there is cross
Mm,
save. And back then, when they released the PC version after the Switch one, they explained the problem being that they needed changes in the engine, which made the save games incompatible.
mm.
And they apparently tried to have a cloud-based solution for that, but decided it's too costly because it essentially would have required servers that constantly convert the save games in between the versions.
And and this article also points out just how convoluted it was for
Mm-hmm.
cross save progression when Marvel's Avengers tried that shit.
Ugh.
And I'm pretty sure that might have been doing something
Oh boy.
similar. Because that might have been
Yeah,
doing something similar. Because
possibly.
you had to go through a pretty convoluted process to,
Mm-hmm.
move your save from one platform to another within the same ecosystem. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't get it. Because to me, why not, Sony?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gaining out of this? Like, if people want to play the game, they're gonna play the game. All you're doing is de-incentivizing anyone. I won't say from playing the game, but from buying it on a lesser platform. I mean, maybe that's your goal. Maybe you want people to specifically buy this on PS5. So,
I don't know.
but
It's
people would
kind
still
of
buy a fucking
almost
PS5 if they want one. So, like,
yeah.
Who are you de-incentivizing?
It's almost more de-incentivizing people getting a PS5.
Yeah.
Because if you have a PS4 and maybe you have the game already there, because it's far easier to get a PS4 compared to a PS5, or chances are you already have one, and it's much more likely that you start the game on the PS4 and then maybe continue on the PS5 or would want to at some point. But
we're not
with
asking for like
availability,
an upgrade. We're not asking
yeah.
like upgrade isn't what we just want to be able to move our save. So can PS4 players only play with PS4 players? I assume that has to be the
Probably.
case then.
Probably,
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. This whole thing smells weird. It smells like Sony.
Yeah. I'm not sure what would if you could use the PS4 version of the game on the PS5 and then use your PS4 progression there. I'm not sure about that. Because the article I don't think writes about that. It just mentions PS4 and PS5. So that would be really bad.
That's weird.
Because you can usually use the PS4 version of any game on the PS5, so I would guess with Rise as well.
Yeah, that's really weird.
But if that would also be blocked, that would be really bad.
Yeah, I don't like that. Can we not?
Yeah.
Can we stop? Can we stop? Can we not do that, Sony, please? Thank you.
That
all right. So okay. Now here's the funny thing about this next story. When this game was like shown off and announced, I was actually like interested, right? But then, as you may or may not know, I purged my collection down to just RPGs. I'd say I'm just only gonna buy games I know I'm gonna play. So I basically eliminated any option of me ever playing this game, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I know I'm gonna watch like Max or someone play it. I'll watch him do it. And that game is the Callisto Protocol. And now, understand, I did not check anything out about it till the day after. So Max, a streamer / YouTuber I watched on a regular, had already streamed it. So my goal was, well, I'm going to just go watch the VOD from the night before and see what he thinks. And, oh, God!
Whoa.
Woo! Man, this game... Max is running a very powerful system with a 3090 graphics card. There is no reason why his game should be dropping all the way down to like 40 to 30 FPS.
Yeah.
Just not from fighting, just from like scenery shit. Like he turns a corner to an area and then the frame rate fucking falls. And it's not like a gradual drop. It's like a jerky, sudden frame rate drop. It hitches so fucking bad. I swear, the first like hour of him trying to play this fucking game was like an hour of him messing with settings, trying to get the game to run well. And it just doesn't on PC. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It runs so badly on PC. So when I posted that tweet on our Discord where it was the Steam page and it said mostly negative, I saw that before I saw Max's stream. So
okay. So you're already bracing yourself.
So I was like, ooh, mostly negative. Oof. And the thing is, upon watching Max play the game, the performance of this game might not be the biggest problem this game fucking has. Like, I don't know whose idea it was to have this weird melee-focused dodge mechanic thing that they've implemented in the game. I don't get it. Like, I'm happy I didn't pick this shit up because that shit would have just annoyed the piss out of me trying to, like, figure out which way to dodge on shit. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing I didn't. But I I kind of figured that this he didn't go back to it, so he didn't dig it either. Max didn't go back to it.
No surprise, honestly, from what I heard. Even Skill Up made a video explicitly not recommending it.
Yeah, it's rough. This game is fucking rough, man. And it is kind of insane to imagine just how much they hyped this game up. How much this game was hyped up as like the Dead Space.
Because it's the devs.
Yeah, the devs really did hype this shit up. Now they didn't say anything about Dead Space in anything they've done, but all the promotional material.
We know that they've been the devs that made Dead Space.
That too. So
that was a big part of it. And you know what's gonna be crazy? If the remake for Dead Space comes out and that's actually really good. Then we know this timeline is fucked.
Yeah, we've entered into a weird timeline distortion. But that wasn't it. Now, okay. So during the stream, Max skips past all of the terms of service that you have to go through before you can even get to the main menu. So understand, no one read them because Max is like, this is fucking dumb. What's all this shit on my screen?
No one usually does. Yeah.
But as always, Sophia Norwitz here with the fucking save or the pain, depending on how you view it. There are, in the terms of service, there are rules of conduct. I would just like to make a note for anyone who is confused or interested. This is a single-player video game.
Yep.
This is, you play this by yourself. Do not, one of them being, do not, in all caps, by the way. I need to make this very clear. It's in all caps. This is in all caps. Do not exploit vulnerabilities in the game. Brackets, bugs, and glitches. What? Motherfucker. What? Okay. That's a little weird. And my favorite, this one. This is my favorite. This one. I'm mad that Max skipped this. I think this would have been for prime content if Max had actually read this shit, because Max would have fucking died. Do not play the game abnormally. If any abnormal gameplay patterns are detected, gameplay that goes against the intention of how our game is meant to be played, measures could be taken against the account that performs such actions in order to create a fair gameplay environment. Now, I want to say one more time, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. Single player video game. And it's also really fucking creepy that they're monitoring your gameplay. That is really fucking creepy. Yep. That's really weird.
Friend of mine from the other Discord had a great tweet for that, which is primo. Reply to Sophia's tweet. The next GDQ will be held in prison.
Yeah, basically. Who wrote this? Who? I want them on our podcast to explain themselves. I want an interview with them today. I need to know what you were thinking, cause
and the next point after the vulnerability stuff. Do not use offensive nicknames, motherfucker.
It's a single player video game. Who's gonna see it? Who's gonna see it? Who? Explain to me. Who's gonna see it? It's a single player video game. Okay.
Support the AVGN. What the fuck were they thinking?
That is a strong assumption.
Yeah, true.
You assume.
I mean, they had to have a thought to put this there, but yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the more I've seen of this game, the more I'm just like, this really is what happens when you gussy up like a really ugly pig in like really nice clothes. Like it looks great. Like that's the thing. If you take the game at face value, it is definitely a good looking video game. Absolutely a
Yeah.
beautiful
I
looking
think
video
that's
game.
the one point that won't be disputed about the quality of this game.
Yeah,
Everything else, though,
it looks
yikes.
great. It sounds great. Everything about it, visually and audio wise, is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But god damn,
The design does not hold up.
the design, like it feels like at every turn they're slowing your ass down. Like you got to shimmy between shit. You got to like go through these transitional hallways and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. This did not hit. I don't think
Yeah.
this hit very well. Sophia said that this is just like the Order 1886, but I would actually
Mm-hmm.
venture to say I think this might actually have more content than Order 1886, but not by much.
Uh, Maybe
I
more content, but given the quality of the content, I don't think that counts much.
yeah, I think that this might have slightly more content. I
Maybe,
remember
yeah.
Order 1886 because
Mm-hmm.
at the GameStop I worked at, we had an opportunity to try the game out as employees before the game came out, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, like it was a great looking video game, but you realize very quickly, oh, there's really not like between what we played and then we saw like then we found out like the game was only like 4 hours long or something like that, like 4 or 5 hours long, and it's like, ah, yeah, I should be happy I didn't just spend $60 on this. But that's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, okay, I want to ask you something like hard, like
Mm-hmm.
straight up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I really do think I need to start having this conversation more. When you hear about a game dev delaying
Mm-hmm.
review code, do you instantly assume something's wrong?
Delaying how much? To just the day that the game releases, or even longer? Well, I would say if if the date of the review embargo is exactly at the release date, I already start thinking, oh, if it's even further than that, then there's definitely a big problems.
So
But
okay. So
yeah.
anything that's like if the reviewer didn't even get the code till like the day
Hmm.
before the game actually comes out. At that point you're thinking,
If the okay, if the code isn't even sent out before much before the release, yeah, that's definitely a big problem. Then
yeah. Because
yeah, that's
like
definitely a big problem. Mm-hmm.
because I don't usually because I guess the common logic is if you don't have anything to hide, then you would give reviewers plenty of time to review your
Mm-hmm.
fucking video game, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
obviously you
definitely.
want them to play the fucking video
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yeah.
But I don't always know how I feel about that mentality because there could be other reasons why they might. I assume there could be other reasons why they might not.
Could
I don't like to just assume. Like, I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt all the time, but at the same time, I don't like to just instantly assume a game's going to be a plonker just because of, like,
it,
a review code. I don't
it's
know. I don't
mm,
know. I feel. I
it
want you to.
depends, especially with a big project. If it's a big project like this, and it's a single player game, I can't really think of of a really valid reason to delay giving out the review codes. If there's bugs and the like, you can have notes for that. You can tell the reviewer. You can do stuff like that. But if you plain just don't give them codes, anything, no, that's a
Yeah.
problem. It's essentially it's in a similar category to back when they had the on-site reviews.
Oh yeah, MGS5. I remember that
Yeah.
that was one of them where they had like they had to like speed run the fucking video game in like 2 or 3 days, and they had people like leering over their shoulder the whole fucking time while they did it.
Stuff like that, yeah.
That just feels
stuff like that is definitely a big warning sign.
That just sounds fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, that too. And it's definitely a warning sign that.
But MGS5 wasn't. MGS5 mechanically, like, look, we can talk about how the last couple section of the story itself maybe didn't hold up. Fine, we can have that conversation when it comes to MGS5. But nobody is going to sit there and say that MGS5 mechanically and gameplay wise didn't hold up, which is weird. That's a weird place to be. That's a weird place to be, to have such a strict review rule when your game isn't bad. You know, your game wasn't bad. What did you gain out of essentially putting your reviewers in a Gestapo for the next 3 fucking days while they have to review your video game with leering employees behind their back to make sure they didn't go off the rails? I don't know.
Who knows?
To me, that just doesn't click. That doesn't. I don't. A and B don't go together. They don't mix with me. I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe that's the point. I'm not a reviewer. I'm also.
I don't know. There have been other instances of on-site review stuff. I think Call of Duties have been doing that in the past. I'm not sure which others, but yeah, there's definitely been other instances, and pretty much each and every time, there's gonna be problems.
I'm gonna be real with you. One thing I'm really getting annoyed with is if you're a single, is if you put terms of service and all this other bullshit right before I get to the fucking start screen to a fucking video game. I've talked about this before. Ni no Kuni did that shit. Where it's like when you first... Ni no Kuni, Tales of Vesperia on Switch. They both did this shit.
Right, yeah.
You start you boot the game up, and before you can even get to the title screen, big ass fucking terms of service thing, you gotta scroll down. I think there was did Arise do that shit too? I think Arise did that shit too. I feel like Arise did that shit. I don't remember.
I think it had a screen like that at the beginning, yeah, but...
It might not have been as offensive.
I'm not sure if you had... Yeah, I'm not sure if you had to scroll down. You had just to accept it, and yeah. But, yeah, I mean, as long as it's just one time at the start, I don't have that much of an issue with it. As long as it doesn't pop up, let's say, after you press new game and then start the game and then it comes up. If it only comes up once at the start of the game and then it's done and over, that's...
That's not as...
The problem is the content. If there's content like this in the game, in the TOS, or if there's a code of conduct like this for a single-player game, then it becomes a real problem.
But again, like you said before, when we started this story, nobody's reading this shit.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like, Sophia went through it, which honestly, I kind of wonder why she did. I'm actually really curious. What made her go, that's interesting. What's in this? What are you making me agree to?
I think it's probably the negative reception was probably a trigger for that. Like, okay, so the game is already bad, and then there's this, and maybe there's stuff in there that I can use as content.
Yeah.
And then she got lucky.
Yeah, she rolled the dice and got incredibly...
Well, maybe she was bored and was reading through it anyway. I don't know.
How much was this? Is this game fucking This game was fucking $70, wasn't it? I bet you it was fucking $70.
Probably regular full price.
Of course it was. I bet you. I will put No, it was 60. It was fucking.
Yeah,
It was 60.
Yeah, regular full price and not next gen full price.
Definitely wasn't I mean, it was a next-gen game as far as Okay, so since the initial thing I posted in our Discord, the reviews are now mixed instead of mostly negative.
Because apparently, at least in terms of the big stuttering issues, they issued a patch for that.
I don't know if that's fixed it, though.
Apparently helped. I mean, I would guess it helped because since the reviews gotten up to mixed.
It has to help. It has to have helped a little bit if you got if you pulled it up to mixed.
Yeah. Would be my guess.
Like, there's some cool, there's a creative idea there in having a lot of your combat focused around melee, but
is that really that creative?
I don't think
that really. I'm.
I mean, I don't know, man. Silent Hill did it, but you weren't supposed to fight the fucking things.
Yeah. I think the way the original Dead Space did it was far more creative.
Oh, like cutting off limbs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Essentially, the whole you're a construction worker and you have your construction equipment and you use that to beat the essentially otherwise immortal enemies, that you had to have them bleed out. Essentially, otherwise they still just keep coming at you no matter how many pieces you cut them into.
Man, if Dead Space wasn't the greatest advertisement for blue collar work imaginable. Really, when
it's kind of a combination of advertisement for blue collar work and advertisement for getting your mental health in order.
Yeah, if you want an advertisement to go into trade work, play Dead Space. It's practical, and if there's somehow an evil demonic presence in your workplace, you have the tools in order to defend yourself. It's perfect, really. It's perfect. I love it. All right.
Yeah, you definitely have to get SpaceX to make tools like that.
Yeah, you're gonna need some pretty specific kind of tools, my man. We're at 52 minutes. You know what? I'm gonna do the Smash Brothers story. I think that's the
Alrighty.
Next. Okay. Yeah. So Nintendo has always had a very odd adversarial relationship when it comes to Smash Brothers in the competitive scene. It's always been complicated. Tournaments are always canceled, then not canceled, then canceled, then not canceled. At the very last minute, they work something out. Now the tournament can happen. It's always been a very, very weird situation.
It's the classic Facebook. It's complicated.
It's definitely complicated. So it was announced that the organizer of the Smash World Tour, they are being shut down after Nintendo, without any warning, told them they could no longer operate. So I only have some of the knowledge about this. So maybe you've read more into this, but I was under the impression that Nintendo was requiring tournaments to have licenses in order to do this, correct?
Yeah.
So if you wanted
That's my understanding of it as well.
If you wanted to do tournaments, you needed to have a license.
Yes.
And there was another tournament, or a tournament organizer by the name of Panda.
Yep.
That is licensed. They jumped through the hoops. They did the magic dance. They did the proper amount of sacrifices on Mount Zion. They burnt the right kind of incense, and now they are.
And yeah, this one apparently, well, I think this tournament already had past events where they weren't licensed either. And apparently there was some sort of non-written agreement between them that they may look the other way or something like that. I'm not sure on the detail there. But from what the these stories tell that they had a discussion with a representative at Nintendo, and they made it clear that they didn't come out and say that they need to cancel the event, but they essentially roundabout said, yeah, they need a license, and this time they wouldn't be looking the other way without saying it in so many words. Was a bit, yeah. They essentially worded it in a way that it was pretty much that they're gonna, yeah, if they continue with this, that there's gonna be a problem, but in a way that they could still say, yeah, we didn't request any changes or cancellation.
That's weird. Why not just say it? Like, what do you... Like, you're Nintendo. You've never been afraid of being the fucking villains half the fucking time anyways, so what are you afraid of now? Like, what possible like, what? You're the villain like 90% of the time, but this one time, this 10%, you're like, nah,
we ain't...
this is... Come on, we're an evil corporation, but we got fucking morals. like, come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, I don't... My whole thing is, like, okay... I really would like to know what had to go on to become licensed and to have this Nintendo blessing that allows you to hold tournaments. Like, we knew Nintendo was probably going to go all in and start stopping these tournaments once they left Evo. Once Evo was owned by Sony, Nintendo instantly dropped their support for Evo for obvious reasons. But like I said, Nintendo's always had a weird adversarial relationship with the competitive scene for this fucking video game, which is weird to me that they have such an adversarial relationship. Because, like, okay, the idea I've always found is that Nintendo goes, our game is not a competitive video game. It's a party game, right? So we don't want our game being we're really touchy about our game being shown competitively, because that's not how we want our game to be presented. Okay. Fun. But then Pokemon exists.
Yeah.
And Pokemon's even weirder, because Nintendo desperately wants Pokemon to be a kid's game. But when you look at the people who enter and play in tournaments for Pokemon the video game tournaments, they ain't all kids, my dude. Like, they're not.
Yep.
Like, the disconnect between what you think something is and what something actually is huge.
And what's the main essentially one of the main parts of the series? Competing against other people in a tournament.
Yeah. So, like, I find it interesting that Nintendo seems to deal with this perceptional issue. I think that's what it is. I think a lot of it's a perceptual thing. Nintendo views a game one way, right? They see the game, one of their games as this. The fans, the people who play, the people who buy the game, see the game, play the game, and go, ooh, it's this. And the thing is, it's even harder for Nintendo to make a lot of these really dumb assumptions about their games when you look at just how they built Smash, the current Smash Brothers game. That game is built for tournament play. So much of that game is built for it. Like, bruh, at least with Pokemon, with recent games, they went through and made some of the more esoteric elements, such as like stat building, EV training, IVs, all these different things, a little bit more digestible, and at least something that was more apparent to the player. right? But like Smash Brothers, they didn't even try to like not make it. It's not like they made it a Mario Party fucking video game. It's the same. It's the same goddamn game. Like y'all didn't change it to make it less of a fighter. It's still a fighter.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and they even have characters straight from fighting games.
Yeah. Yeah, like Sakurai is such a giant nerd. He put fucking Terry Bogard in it. Like you're not convincing anybody that you have
his
Ken
introduction
and
of the character with all the games around the Fatal Fury and everything. So
you're not fooling anybody into thinking like this isn't a fighting game. You have like Ryu, Ken. You have fucking Infernoroar, which is literally just a pro wrestler in Pokemon. Like you could sit here and say, "Oh, our game is a party game." Okay, if you feel like
yes and no.
Yeah, it is if you really want to be pedantic. If you want to be really pedantic about it. I don't feel like being pedantic though, so I don't know. I find a lot of like with most things Nintendo does, it's fucking head scratching and weird how they come to these decisions. But
ain't that the truth?
I don't get it. I would love to know what kind of blood sacrifices Panda Circuit had to do in order to get the approval. I want to know what they did. I do. I would love to know what kind of blood.
I think one of the biggest issues Nintendo had, if I remember correctly, was something about the health regulations and stuff like that for the tournament. I'm not quite sure. I think I read something about that. Yeah, like their cleanliness stuff. And,
maybe it was after that Smash Brothers store, that Smash Brothers player store where he came to the fucking tournament with the black fucking plague.
Maybe was that the same kind of tournament? Was that the same thing,
Hungry Box?
Was that a different one?
Yeah, no, Hungry Box. He plays Smash Brothers. Yeah, that was a Smash Brothers tournament, and he came to the fucking tournament.
I mean, it was a Smash Brothers, but was it the same?
That I don't know.
Same tournament.
That I don't know for sure.
Had the problem this time because. Then it would be partially understandable, maybe.
Yeah, Hungry Box showed up to the fucking tournament. Feeling itchy tasty.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, that was. Oof.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
He was feeling. He has a sudden taste for flesh at that tournament.
That would have been an interesting story.
Yeah. Smash Brothers tournament turned Resident Evil very quickly. I don't think anybody would have wanted that. I mean, maybe I kind of did. I would actually watch a Smash Brothers tournament if like
that was Double Down 2022's top 12.
I would actually watch a Smash Brothers tournament if, like, halfway through the tournament, one of the players got up and just started munching on his opponent. Like, I might actually tune in. I'd be like, "Ooh, wow, this is getting interesting." Hey,
you threw my character out.
Yeah, fucking starts munching on his opponent like a cheeseburger, like a fresh cheeseburger. That's. Maybe I'm in the wrong. I don't know. You can make your decision later.
Resident Evil Smash Edition.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Y'all can make your decision. I'm gonna wrap this episode up with one last story. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt sells 1 million units. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Witcher 3 sold 1 million in Japan. Not because it's a bad game, but because it's not a kind of game I think. When I think of things that do well in Japan, I don't usually think of like Western or traditional Western sword and sorcery kind of video games do well.
True, although I think the Switch port had a lot to do with that, probably.
You think so?
I would think so. Because I mean, Western RPGs may not be as popular there, maybe, but the the kind of setting, I would say. I mean, consider what kinds of things uh, are in Final Fantasy, Knights of the Round, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
in
So,
Final Fantasy, yeah, Final Fantasy has been moving more and more. Final
mm-hmm,
Fantasy's always kind of shifted between like steampunk to
mm-hmm,
old school medieval,
yep.
and then Final Fantasy VIII was just basically modern. Just a game set in the up up
That's all kinds of
until
stuff there.
up until Aliens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think in general, stuff like that can do well there, and I think being on the Switch probably helps a lot, especially in Japan.
Yeah, or that new portable
Mm-hmm.
console that's gonna be in Japan very soon. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. It's
Yes.
the new hotness.
Mm-hmm.
This new hotness called the Steam Deck.
Mm.
It's gonna be in
By
Japan
an
pretty.
by an upcoming indie developer.
Yeah, they've never made. Well, to be fair, they've never made a handheld before, so
And
and
that's true.
they're not really tried and tested at the moment. They don't have that kind of experience. They're
Yeah.
a new startup in the industry. What can I say?
And they don't seem to want to count to 3 either.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they. I think at this point, I think it's as wise that they don't. I think I
Maybe.
feel like at this point, Gaben is just like, I don't have a lot going on. I could probably push Half-Life 3 into development. But what if I don't?
Yeah.
What if I just don't? But couldn't you? I could. And there's nothing stopping me from doing it. But what if I don't? What if I just
They obviously could do it, but I think that's also the beauty of the way Valve does things. Like, they aren't rigid in terms of what they will do, but they just do what they want to do.
Yeah. And I respect that. I respect that
Mm-hmm.
kind of creative freedom to not necessarily feel like you have to do something, but to do something when you
Mm-hmm.
have the creative spark to do it. It's one of the reasons why we only have Portal 1 and 2. they
And
had
soon Portal 2 with Portal with ray tracing.
yeah. It's like we could maybe do a Portal 3,
Mm-hmm.
but we just don't have the creative spark and we don't know what we want to do with it. And we're not going to force ourselves to sit down creatively and force something out. So we'll just
Yeah. Maybe they tried and they thought, okay, no, this isn't enough. We'll just push this to someone else.
yeah, we'll let someone else do it. So
Yeah,
that's fun.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Half-Life Alyx pretty much was with the help of other people.
And Half-Life
That
Alyx, from what I've seen, was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
All I've heard is really positive things about that one.
Yeah, so say what you will about their creative about Valve and how people say that their development strategies and how they operate
Mm-hmm.
within the company is unorthodox. You can call them unorthodox all you like, but when you get results, it's
Yeah.
it's
Obviously,
unorthodox.
not everything works out fine, but all in all, it's
Yeah,
more
it
positives
works.
than negatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've had more successes than failures, I think.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah,
I
I'd say
don't know.
so.
Yeah,
I think
so.
the only two big failures were the first attempt at the Steam machine and that card game that they made a while ago.
I don't know if
Artifice or whatever.
but like the Steam machine, like Valve didn't
Mhm.
make that. Valve just came up with like the designation.
Yes, I mean that was the issue, that they went at it in the wrong way.
They just came up with like a designation for it, and
Mm-hmm. They had a certain framework, and it turned out that framework didn't work.
yeah, didn't
But
didn't.
yeah,
Okay.
it was certainly wasn't something like, yeah, they made a machine and it sucked. It wasn't an Ouya.
Can anyone really ever Recreate the Ouya in our hearts, CD. Can anyone truly ever recreate how we felt when that thing?
Probably not.
When that thing was conceived, it might have been a fail. It might have been a failure sales wise, but it will always be a success in my heart, CD. Anyways, everybody, I hope you've all enjoyed this fantastic show. I have. Can't say I have that every week. Some days I don't. This week I got to have fun. I didn't have to be depressed this entire show from fucked up stories that we cover. So that's cool. As always, you can find our show on a variety of platforms such as Spotify, Apple, and Google. And you can also find our video formatted show every single Sunday, along with the audio show every single Sunday at Turn-Based Cynics. Lest I have to eat a piece of footwear. I don't want to eat a piece of footwear. I really don't. I have better things to eat. But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed this show. I'm going to go find myself food and then edit the show.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, fucking play Chrono Trigger, I guess.
That's a good choice.
Be the cause of a poor man being stuck in a time loop, as I humbly explained to you earlier. I get pushback about that today. They're like, "Oh no, you're not the reason he's in a..." I'm like, "No, we are the reason he's in a time loop. He's in a permanent time loop because of us. A self-sustaining time loop."
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Not cool. Not cool, guys. Anyways, everybody, have a fantastic week. Game on. And maybe don't play Callisto Protocol until they patch it.
Yeah.
Just go.
And even after that, think about it.
Wait for Dead Space. Wait for Dead Space. Do that. Wait for Dead Space. Anyways, everybody, stay tuned. We'll see you all later.